Okay, so up till now, we've been doing more structured drawings. Like with the card drawing, you had the grid to help you draw with a 1 point perspective. You had the formula of going back to the vanishing point and using a straight edge or ruler. And so now we're going to start going into how to free draw, but still using a picture for reference. Okay, we're not tracing. Okay, it's a different skill to free draw, but you can do it. You've actually already done it if you've done your name. Okay, you didn't just write out your name; you drew out your name and the font. Okay, you did that already. You're just something that you're already comfortable with drawing out letters. So now we're going to do something a little bit more complex, but you can do it. Okay, so we're all going to be doing the same picture because I want you to follow along with me for practice for what we're going to be doing next. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to free draw so that way you can be successful, and how you break something like this down into something manageable. Okay, so first off, you look at the overall shape of it. Okay, so I find the biggest shape, and really this is the circle for the head. Okay, and the ears are really just, think about, they're just rounded triangles. Same for this shape. It's almost like a heart shape, really. But if you want to break it down even more, you can just say it's a triangle. These are just circles. Okay, everything else really is just the details. Okay, so we're going to start with the simple shapes and then build on that. So that's what you do when you free draw. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and draw like the perfect eye and then hopefully I'll just draw everything great around it. Like, you don't work like that because we want everything proportional. Okay, so everything should be the size it's supposed to be. Okay, to make this look like that. So on this paper here, I'm going to start off with the circle, the head. Okay, and then draw really big. Okay, and draw really lightly. I'm going to try to challenge you to not use an eraser. And if you draw really lightly, you won't need to use an eraser. Okay, so I'm just going to draw using my whole arm. And I keep going around and around until I kind of get how I want it to be. So see, I kind of like my little wobbly over here. So this side is good. So I can just kind of fix over this side over here to get it how I want. Okay, so I kind of have this part right here is what I want more. So I'm kind of like darkening that in because that's the part I want to keep. Okay, so once you kind of have how you want it, you can darken in just a little bit more, just so that we can kind of focus on those lines. Okay, so I have a circle, and I know it's not a perfect circle, but really all this is just the texture of the fur and everything kind of coming off of it. I'm just really looking at this part right here. Okay, so the next part, what I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, so I just kind of eyeball it, and I'm really just going to just draw again, very lightly, draw a line down the middle. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because the face is symmetrical, right? So it's the same on both sides. Like this side is like this side, just a mirror image of it. Okay. Even the stripes are pretty close to being mirror images of each other. Okay, so everything's like pretty symmetrical. I know the ears are not exactly, but then the placement they are, you know, the ears themselves are a little not quite the same. Okay, so I'm splitting that down the middle so that way I can make sure that my drawing is going to be symmetrical. And again, we're going to just start just this simple shape. So it's going to look pretty simple right at first because we do the details last. Okay, so like the ears, I know they go off this part just a little bit, but it's going over this way. Okay, just kind of think about a rounded triangle. Same over here. I try to kind of do about the same placement. It's over here. Again, I'm not worried about how they look exactly, just kind of roughing, get a rough sketch of that. Okay, now we can go in and start the features of the face here. So notice how small the eyes are, okay? And also notice that they're not at the top, they're not way up here, they're pretty about the middle, okay? So like the bottom of the eye here, and I know this is like his chin goes a lot lower, but this is kind of where we stopped our circle. So it's here, the bottom of the eye, into the top of the head is about half, you know, roughly. So I'm going to also make a line going across. So these are called guidelines. Same idea as when we did the grid lines for the car and how you made these extra lines to help you. You also do that when you free draw, okay? Those will be all erased later, and that's why you just draw them in lightly to help you. So these are where the bottom of the eyes are going to be. Okay, it's not up here, it's not down way here. It's going to be right through here. Okay, and also not too close together. So it kind of helps too to kind of to do like the nose and this like the snout part here first, because there's a bit of a width here, so it's a little bit goes out in either side. Okay, and then it gets wider as it goes down. Okay, so this is really just, if I look at this is really just an angled line. So I'm just going to make that angled line this way. And the same thing that way. It says the angled line this way. I can make an angled line going that way. Again, I'm just drawing this all very lightly. Okay, and then it goes, it curves out, comes in, okay, right at the beginning of the mouth. And it may not be exactly, I know this is probably actually a little bit wider than I'm drawing it. We're just kind of just getting, again, just a sketch it in, and then we'll go in and make it all nice and everything. Okay, and then this part down here is like the chin. Okay, and it goes off a little bit, but then a lot of this is just all that extra fur, and I'm not drawing all that fur in right now. Okay, so this came up a little bit for the opening of the mouth. Okay, now the nose is like about here, and really this is just a triangle. So the nose is about right here, comes out either this way. So I'm just going to put in a actual triangle right here. Okay, again, just not making it look, trying to look exactly like it yet. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and put the eyes in. We kind of drew the bottom of the eyes. We gave them the width so they're not too close together. And right now I'm just going to draw a circle. Okay, and again, they're not that big. All right, so, and now I drew one in. Okay, so what helps, a lot of people have problems with drawing two eyes because they draw one eye really nicely and then the other eye is either too big or it's up too high or too low. We know it's going to sit on this line, but we want to make sure we make it the same height. So all you do is you start from here and you just draw a line over. Okay, again, very lightly. And you're kind of mapping in where you're going to put this other eye. Okay, you can even measure that this is this long, so it's going to stop like right here. So I actually made it a little too short. So I'm kind of actually boxing it in, and then you're just drawing in right here. Okay, all right. So that's how you're just getting. You're mapping it out so things are placed how they're supposed to be. Now you can start going in and adding the details and start making it look more like this. Okay, I'm not worried about trying to get all the texture right now either. That's going to be the next part. We're still just kind of focusing on just drawing the things that I mapped out. Like, I'm not really worried right at this moment trying to draw all the like the stripes right now. That will be after I finish drawing the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears. Okay, so we're just focusing on still the things we just mapped out. So like for the ears, like this ear, you know, I kind of started doing it a little bit more this way. I know you can't see the top of it, but I'm just gonna have to draw that in. Okay, and then this kind of curves right here. You know, if you want to draw just a few tufts of hair just to kind of show that, you know, which way the hair or the fur is going, okay, you can do that. Notice I have not been using an eraser. As long as you draw really lightly, even if you have a lot of extra lines, you know, sometimes people just get so caught up erasing, you never actually spend any time drawing. So it's okay that things don't look perfect right away. You just kind of have to be okay with that. Okay, so this part actually like folds down a little bit and then goes here. Maybe this kind of goes up a little higher. So I just kind of adjust as I'm looking at it. So I'm looking at this, my eyes are bouncing back and forth between these. Okay, and again, if you want to draw a few tufts of fur just to kind of get the idea of it, but you don't need to spend fur. I don't want to do a lot of fur. Okay, same for like the eyes. Okay, now you can go in, and now I can start drawing with more pressure, getting the details in. Okay, so there's a little bit of a glint of light right here, and his little pupils like right here, it's very small. Okay, so you can just like darken that in. Okay, and then there's like, you know, like the dark area around it, and it has this light area. So kind of think about, you're just drawing these, like I'm drawing this part, and it's just, think about it's like a shape. Okay, so this is like that light area around it. Okay, and this is like the dark area here. So you can kind of shade in some areas just to kind of see what it looks like a little bit more. Okay, for like the nose, now instead of it being a, you know, it's not a perfect triangle here, it dips down, it comes up and curves like this on both sides. Again, it's still symmetrical, so I'm drawing the same thing on both sides. Okay, and just have like a bit of a line right there. Okay, and it has this dark area right through here, and like, so if you want to shade it in just a little bit, just kind of makes a little more sense of what you're seeing, that's fine. But don't spend too long shading things in right now. Okay, you can always do that more later. Okay, so it kind of comes up a little bit more like that. The nose, or the around the mouth here, you know, this is a little more rounded than I'm giving it credit for, so I want to have it come out more like this. So now I can go back and adjust it. So even if I look back later and be like, oh, that still doesn't look right, you know, you just kind of keep adjusting. But if you do one side, try to go ahead and do the other side right away, so that way you're keeping it symmetrical, and don't spend like making one side look really perfect and then you can't make it match on the other side. If you do one side then do the other side, you kind of remember what you just did more. So like this should come in a little bit more. Now that I see, now I'm looking at, so my eyes are bouncing back between what I'm drawing and here quicker, so that I realize like, oh, this should have, you know, this should meet this part right here actually meets, and I didn't do that, so I'm adjusting it. So it's just all about, you know, like really looking at what you're seeing and adjusting as you go. You're not going to get it perfect right away, especially if you haven't drawn it before. Okay, so it comes out more like this, and then it kind of ends up with all these little tufts of fur, which I'm not going to spend forever drawing that part. Okay, and then, you know, once you start getting this part done, then you can go in and start drawing where the stripes are. You know, it's like a few little lines here. Okay, again, so I challenge you not to use an eraser and just draw lightly and build up your line. So like right here I could have erased it, but I just kind of used it as a way just to build it up instead.